Please put on the records. A very good morning and welcome to Vishwa Talks. My name is Trishan, and I thank you all for attending today's event on Zoom and to those watching on YouTube Live. For those of you who have attended a Vishwa Talk before, a warm welcome back. And for our new joinees, here's a little bit about us. Vishwa Talks is here to create awareness amongst people and to protect our social heritage and to let people make their own decisions. Here, we invite experts to discuss and explore diverse opinions, different perspectives, various issues, problems, and their solutions on various fields, including art and culture, healthcare, environment, education, and many more. Each webinar is an interactive session with a deeper understanding of the topic at hand. If you miss any part of the session or would like to go through the previous sessions, please visit our website vishwa.org or Vishwa Talks YouTube channel for a full library of past Vishwa Talks on various interesting topics. It is a pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Amitra Sudan Saha. He's a design curator. He's a designer, curator, and craft revivalist whose work bridges tradition and contemporary practice. As principal designer and co-owner of Saha Works Collab and the curatorial venture Vishwambara, he leads research-driven exhibitions, scenographic installations, and a community-led design initiatives across India. His expertise lies in craft-based design, textile storytelling, and social enterprise development. A postgraduate diploma holder from IICD Jaipur, Amitra has collaborated on numerous prestigious projects with government bodies, heritage institutions, and grassroots clusters, in India and abroad. His work form part of private and institutional collections nationally and internationally. His recent curations include Shah, Tilak, Handloom Sutra, and Chins, Muslin, and the Forgotten Queen. He is currently working on the conceptualization of a Shantipur textile museum focusing on the legacy of fine muslins. A passionate educator and speaker, he views design as a tool for cultural sustainability. Today, Amitra Sutam will explore In Search of Kasturi, sharing insights into the stories, ethics, and human touch behind craft. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Amitra Sudan Saha. And as we dive into today's interesting discussion, I would like to inform the audience that our speaker will be taking questions from you after our main talk. So please leave your questions in the chat box and use the raise hand tool, and we will allow you to ask your question in person. I request everyone to turn on your webcam for the interactive part of the webinar. I request you to keep the questions concise and short. Kindly ask one question at a time so that the other participants can interact too. And you can share your experiences, opinions, perspectives in the chat box. Good morning again, sir.
Yeah, very good morning. And hello, everyone. And thank you for inviting me, Trishant, and the whole Vishwa Talks team. And it's a pleasure that I am part of this beautiful program, and the things that you are doing, I'm really commendable. So before I start my presentation, I just wanted to check whether my voice is audible enough, or should I raise my voice a bit? The tone is correct. Okay, thank you. So before I start with my presentation, I just wanted to take you through a small journey which led to this presentation. And this is a very interpersonal relationship that I'm going to share with you. It's a journey of a lot of things. It's a journey that has been, and I'm just sharing my personal journey with you. So when I was a kid, and there's a place in Calcutta called Kumartuli, which hosts most of the Durga Puja idols and creates all the idols that you see in Calcutta. So there'll be about 300, 350 small art studios, and hardly the light enters those studios. And these are very small lanes, and each structures are about 10 to 12 feet. And always wondered how these structures are made and how these structures were taken out. As a kid, I used to get mesmerized by the casual attitude of the artist working in this beautiful workshop with it's a very different kind of a muggy smell, which I loved. The hands so casually throwing the clay onto the structure, and yet magic evolving by creating those beautiful idols. So the whole process, the whole synergy in those small studios, spaced between one each other, and hardly space to walk in, was always mesmerizing. And it kept kind of from my kid, always I had this thought how one dwells, how one thinks, evokes such beautiful ideas, how things are created. And this kept on my search, and hence I studied my art, and then left my art college, studied design, and worked with some of the greatest designers and installation people in India and across the country. And and I this is the presentation talks about my understanding in search of kasturi, and how I am still trying to find my kasturi. So I hope by the end of the this seminar will I think just yeah. So I hope by the end of this talk, I will create some perspective. I hope that you see the world of creativity and art and textile in a very different way. Thank you once again, and welcome to In Search of Kasturi, where I explore the self discovery through culture, heritage, and traditional crafts. So the story begins with the mask, deer, which travels through the mountains and through the jungles, trying to figure out where the smell is coming from. And this deer is getting puzzled, and he's getting, mm, and his mind is getting mucked up with a lot of thoughts that I can't see the smell, but the smell is so beautiful that I'm getting mad about it. I need to find this smell. And in this pursuit, he meets a saint, a sage who was sitting. And this deer comes to the sage and asks, "So, can you, sage, can you help me in finding this smell, this beautiful fragrance? And I'm getting mad about it, and I don't know from where this fragrance is coming." The sage says, "The scent is in you, the kasturi." Deer said, was confused. How can the smell is in with me? So the sage says that there's the smell is coming from a, a part which is inside you, and you have to find out which part. And eventually the deer finds out, and he gives his life in search of kasturi. So that story kind of kept me thinking that crafts and art is something that one has to really dive in and really have to explore. It's more of a self exploration than teaching anybody arts and crafts. And that's why I come to my second idea of looking at a kumbh, a pot of plenty, that what we call. It's a metaphor. And all we know how this pot of plenty, when the Rakshasa and the Devas were churning the sea to find the Amrit Kumbh, this pot of plenty emerged from the sea. And this pot of plenty spilled some Amrit, and which again created a huge story around that. But I'm not concerned about the Amrit. I'm concerned about the pot here. And why the pot? Because pot is itself is a beautiful story. Because if you look at the pot has a texture, it has a size, it varies in different size. It can be made up of various materials, terracotta, metal, you name it, you can build it on it. It can be stacked on one on each other. The pot again beautifully can be hold in the hips of a woman, or it she can carry on the head on one over another as a stacking element. It uses been used as a storage. It has been used as a cooling agent when the refrigerator were not there. It is easily to transport. Musicians play music from this pot. So it is just not a pot. It is a, a series of innovation, a series of idea, a history, a culture, significance that people have used it to signify it in various manner. And also they have applied it in various way, and still it is very relevant to today's world. So what is a pot of plenty? If you look at, as I was talking about, metal caster melt it, a milkman pours it to boil his milk, use it for pujas, use ornamentation as a bidri artwork to make bidri, use as sculpture, musician, plays as a stack, and henceforth it can be used in various manners. And hence, pot becomes a very significant traditional art form of India, a one of the significant elements that has always inspired me, that how pot, yet diverse in its shape and sizes, is used across the country length and breadth, and everyone finds its own use, everyone finds its own cause of having a pot in their house. So when I understood the pot and I thought that how can I interpret my pot, I created a sculpture which I used it for a installation at a hotel, and I used this as a Purna Kumbh, and how this pot inspired me from my within to create something which could be displayed. Now coming back to this pot. Now from the pot there are a lot of senses, there's sensibilities that comes up. Some of them are touch, smell, taste, see, hear, safety, culture, comfort, modification. So there are various loops that goes up and down, meeting each other and trying to connect a juxtaposition of things of what actually we are looking for in a design process, in an art process. And hence, there's another word that comes in my mind, that is empathy. When we work with crafts people, when we work with textile people, when we work with this committee, this these people, we also have this thing called empathy. And empathy is not sympathy. Empathy means to put yourself into their shoes and try and see what they think, what they feel while they create. And henceforth, when an artisan or a craftsman or a textile weaver weaves it, everything is important. The touch, the smell, the taste, the see, the hear, everything is important. I'll give you a small example for you to understand. We all know there's a the handloom saris are woven across India, but there's a technique called jamdani, which is an extra weft technique on a sari. Now, when we do it in Bengal, these are very complicated structures, and a single weaver cannot weave this. So, two weaver has to sit to weave it. Now, their understanding with each other has to be good, their cohesiveness, their friendship has to be good. It's like a musician, like the tabla and the sitar has to play together, otherwise the rhythm will break. So the weaver also this with has to partner with his second weaver to have that partnership going. So the food they ate, the smell that they breathe in, what they see, the touch, all has to parry, all has to match with each other. There has to be marriage between the loom, the weavers, and the weaving, and then a product can be created. So one, as a designer, as an artist, I need to understand their feeling. I need to understand why they are taking so much time, why they're looking for the correct partner to weave such complicated structure. So that's kind of an empathy, looking into details, are so much important in our sector while we are creating an object. And henceforth, the five senses comes into play. The five sense of touch, smell, feel, the space, the fire, all these elements come into play. And indigo is one of such element. Just for an example, to tell you that when you create an indigo, the smell is important, the taste is important, the feel, the touch is important. Otherwise, in the vat of the indigo is not correct. To create a vat of the indigo, all these five senses is required for a perfect vat to be created. So this five senses only will happen with patience, only will happen with empathy, and only will happen on understanding of detailing of what is the correct temperature for the vat to ferment, what is the smell that is required. So to understand that it's fermenting, what is the touch and feel of the vat it should be, so that the vat gives us that bright color. So all these senses again is comes up, it again kind of create this inherent structures within you as you when practice uh, these uh, these art forms. Now, as a medium, as how does it work? So when I think to create something, the ideas that are coming up in my mind, I it's like I create, I go back to the reality. Is it possible or not? I come back, and again I think, and again create, and I come back. So it's a game of introspection. Art is a medium of introspection, and one has to come. It has to be introspected, not only with you within. You can't be selfish in when you're working with crafts and textiles. You also have to take consideration of the makers. You also have to take consideration of the people behind the makers who are creating the raw material. Try and understand what are the ways that this can be made. I will explain you in my further presentation why this part is so important. So when I say introspect, this is another client's uh, work that I had done. To give an example, so this was a huge wall. This is just the half of the wall. It's about 60 feet wall, one cast of bronze, and it took about 100 people to carry and fit this wall into this bronze wall into the wall. So it is a mammoth task. It was a mammoth task, and about six different skills of people work to create this uh, project. And this is where I come to introspect. I create a design. I discuss it with my people that whether they like it or not like it. So they will have some viewpoints. Before doing the design, this is based on a Jain story. And I had to get a copywriter to help me with finding out six important elements or six important stories of Jain culture, Jain history, of how Jainism came, or how Jaina, Bhagwan Jain came, and what are the significant six stories. So this editor helped me in creating six stories. After those six stories, I had to introspect how to create six stories in a way that it will have a a binding between all the six structure, yet it will look like an art piece, yet it will be in one flow. So I had to draw six designs, and this design shouldn't be just a design because I'm not working as an artist. I'm here working with a craftsman. So I had to understand and craftsman from Orissa, how does he sculpt his stone? So I had to go and work with a Maharana, a Ratnakar from Orissa. How do he curve his stones, and what is his detailing? How does he work? So I did the sketches. I went to him and asked him for refinement. He did his own refinement on the drawings, which I again showed it to my client and they kind of liked it. Then I again went to another this sculptor and said that can we create POP models, because I don't want stone models, I want POP models. He was little what do you say not happy on creating POP models because they were Maharanas. They were all a pride group of people. So I had to really explain and sit and talk through him, understand his why he doesn't want to do it in POP, understand, and here the empathy word comes in. You have to create a bonding between the community. You have to create an understanding with this community, and henceforth he agreed, and we became very good friends. And he agreed to make POP sculptures, which was beyond his usual skills, and yet he did those sculptures. So I got this sculptures, took to a bronze maker who who makes this bronze plates, and asked him that I want it to be casted in a one plate, and he said that's impossible because there this huge structure in one piece cannot be done. It can be done, but then it's a mammoth task, and I won't be able to make it. So I again had to talk to him, figure out a way how these structures can be done. Now, if you look at the structure, all are individual pieces that are sculpted out from a wall. But if you look at the detailing, if you see a lot of layers and there are a lot of plates that are in between, round plates. So what I did, I divided into six parts and put the POP molds on the sculptures. And after the casting of the bronze model, I threw wax all throughout and create a synergy where it will look like that it comes from one place. So this was completely out of the box, and this bronze sculptor did nothing like this before, where he was throwing wax and creating this wave like structures. Again, understanding of detailing, understanding the complexities of how bronze sculpture can be used, bronze uh, technique of casting can be used, and understanding how the detailing of each sculpture has to be figured out while designing. So in a lot of introspection happens while you create a product, and when you work with the communities, they are very sensitive on certain things, on certain ways of creating uh, a structure. They most of the time they won't be willing to go out of their way, beyond their way, and do certain things. But if you have an empathy, if you have an understanding, you will surely cross that line. So here I come to my next question, which is from again from our Vedas. It's called Neti and Neti. So my guru, went from where I had learned a lot, Sri Rajiv Sethi. She always used to call this word called Neti Neti, which is not this, not that, neither this, neither that. So if so, one has to really do and not happy of creating the first one. One has to really do once again and again and again and again, until unless you are very sure, unless your mind says that I can't do it anymore, and then you start more doing more, until unless you come to a point where you really feel from your heart is saying probably the first one or the second one was better. So that that's from where a design or an art uh, happens. And it's really something like an introspection on search of kasturi, that you really have to dwell in yourself. And henceforth, if you see the tiger, and this is an image from the uh, Harappa civilization, where there was a seal that they found. And if you see how abstract this tiger, and how they must have thought of creating this tiger in such different ways, just amazing how people can be so creative, so innovative. So sometimes I think that what came first, the skills, the creativity, the idea, or it was all together. So if these are questions that I also don't know, I'm still trying to figure out. If you see at these tigers created by various craftsmen and artists across India, just wondering, a tiger on Alpana, and tiger in Worli, a tiger in Kalighat, or a tiger in South Indian sculpture, which is Yali, and a carpet. all are different. Even in an art form, it's a different. And how people have imagined a tiger, and how they have kind of made it their own, made it their as a part of their life. And these are things. I mean, I'm really interested, and I really want to find more. And really, it's a search of how people think. How when we talk about abstraction, we talk about various abstraction in modern art and in Renaissance, and how people are doing new modern art. But in India, we were always doing this abstraction from long time before anybody told us what is modern art. We were always abstracting, but in our own way. Our emotional quotient had an important part to play. Our upbringing, our sociological environment had a different art, had a different upbringing. In many parts, when you see an alpona, the tiger looks like a horse, because many of us in that time, in those period, have heard of a tiger but have not seen a tiger. So they have seen a horse, so they thought that, and the horse would be, a tiger would be a very similar to the structure of a horse, except their mouth, and they will have some stripes, and so it was completely different. So yeah, as I was talking, like Yali, and then the sculpture of Tipu Sultan, which is an automata tiger. So all the tigers that you see are different, and we have been doing abstraction of tigers and many other uh, elements as such in our own way. And henceforth, they're coming to my next work, which I wanted to show you. If you see in the right of the corner, that's Kalighat painting, which started long time back in Bengal. They were the Potuas, they were the painters who were called Potuas, and they used to do paintings of gods and goddesses, primarily for uses in the household. Lakshmi, Ganesh, Durga, Kali, for puja. And people used to travel, so it was easier to, if to remember that those days we didn't have photographs, so we had to paint images to carry it along with us, and and do pujas. So that's how the Potuas were known. But when the Britishers came and they saw this beautiful style of painting, some thought that why not ask them to introduce some of the current contemporary uh, stories. And some of them started doing that. And one of the famous, Jamini Roy, and his work is in the Museum of Modern Art, and he's known for his, sorry, for his artworks. And he started doing it in a different manner. And the henceforth Kalighat pot chitro, what we see, has changed its art form in a very different way. So when I thought I wanted to do this art form in my way, so I started creating and abstracting the form. I wanted to do it in a very different way, and hence I created this table like structure, which is like a table, which actually is an abstraction of their form, because they were also abstracting human form in a different way. So why not taking the abstraction to the next level, where I do the painting of the form in a very different, it's a different way. So again, I collaborated with a woodworker, a Potachitro artist, myself who drew the drawing, and also with a painter who did a final bit of texturing on it. So there were five people involved in it, in creating this structure, and it's with somebody's private collection. But then this is a story how one has to understand the detailing of the crafts, the detailing and the strength of each one has, and then you use those strength to create your own bit of it. So exploration of cultural roots is again, as I was talking earlier also, is again an important thing. So we have 64 colors, and there are 64 colors. I won't get into those 64 colors, but these are cultural significance that India has, and we are blessed to have these, and we should all explore these 64 colors. And each color has a very, there's a color of wearing saris, there's a color of dressing up. There's a word in Hindi called sajna and savarna. In English we just said dress up. So dress up and sajna and savarna are two different things. Dress up means you dress up well. You can wear a coat and a shirt and a pant, and then you dress up. But savarna is something where you actually ornament yourself with the things that you're wearing. So that is Sajna and Savarna. So these are Sanskrit and cultural inheritance that we have, and we must explore in details, in depth. And henceforth, I come to this aspect of sari. If you look at a sari, and we do create a lot of saris. My wife is a textile artist and designer, and she's working in a in an area of saris. And if I look at a sari, it's beautiful the way it's been draped. And if you look, there's a research that has happened which talks that a sari is can fit everyone. It doesn't need a size. Anyone can fit into it. It protects you in winters or in summers. The pallu can be wrapped around you and it can protect you. The 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 pleats in the sari works as a ventilation for air to, to go in and to come out. So also it gives you a easy movement if you uh, if you work. Again, sari can be used in a different way, different purpose. And if you see those some of the drapes in that's our traditional people have been wearing, and each are from a different work field, and they wear the sari in their way they want it. So again, it has. If you look at a sari as a fabric, it's just so much to give. And I think we are so blessed to have sari as a uniform, as a cultural significance of India. And I think it's one of our best designed product, and I think that's been gifted to the world. So when we talk about sari, so there if you see creative expression and authenticity, this I wanted to stress upon because uh, currently we have seen Gucci and there were many other brands. I don't want to name their name their brands, but there were a lot of international brands who actually got inspired from Indian textiles and art and craft, and they created a lot of designs which were displayed in Paris Fashion Week, and they didn't acknowledge that they were inspired from India. The authenticity was not expressed. Henceforth, there was a huge backlash, and slowly they have to acknowledge that this is from a Kolhapuri chappal, this is from a sari, this motive is from India, and henceforth they had to do. So our creative expression and authenticity is something which makes us stand apart from the whole world. The motives that we have, the the colors that we place, the heritage, the creativity, the skill that it comes, everything. Also, a bonus is the sustainability. If you know that the United Nation has come up with this sustainability plan, and and all the 16 elements that they have applied that one has to use going forward for all the industry, crafts and textile applies to all those 16. It's handmade, it's gives lots of employment, less of water, it is sustainable material. There is uh, accessibility of the raw material. So everything, all those things apply. So again, that's the reason why India's crafts and textile is one of the biggest, is the second biggest backbone after farming. And this is again, when I talk about saris, there's some of the saris, and that sari in the middle is was displayed for the New York Fashion Week for about 2 months, and it was kept for display and showing how our artistry of our Chandani, our finest muslin, can be woven in this part of the country, where the threads are completely handmade. And these are when I say 300 count, it means in 1 inch there will be 300 threads. Each thread has been handmade and uh, and been used to make this sari. So this kind of skill only we have in our country have, and we possess this skill and tradition to uh, to enjoy. We are very lucky to enjoy this kind of luxury. We call it a luxury because this luxury, other countries don't have the luxury of creativity. You think and you have the possibility of creating it. This is a luxury. You can wear the finest cotton, and where people are only wearing mill yarn cotton. And you know, if to make this sari, there are 13 people involved from making of the yarn to the end product. So there are 13 people involved. So each person when a sari is been sold, each person gets his or her share. So that's again a beauty of handloom and crafts. Coming back to this project, and it's a very dear project. And there were a lot of articles that had come. This is a project which I did for Japan Social Funded Fund, uh, and this World Bank project, where there's a craft, and now it's quite a thriving craft called Sikki, and this is actually a grass grown in wild, and we found some pieces in the Bihar Patna Museum, not the new one, the old one. And we were thinking how we can start this project again. And Japan Social Fund through World Bank and Asian Heritage Foundation had this got this opportunity, asked me to go and work with them. So when I started working with in Bihar, north of Bihar, it's a very different area. Most of these women are in their uh, pallus and they won't come out to work. Initially, when I went there as a young man, I had to convince the panchayat first that I have come with certain ideas and I had to do this. I had to pursue them and to make them believe that it's purely an exercise to revive these crafts, not anything else. So the sarpanch had allotted the senior most person to be as a guardian of this project. So every time I went there and wanted to do a workshop, a guardian was sitting in the community hall where I was doing, along with two people sitting outside to check whether I was true enough in delivering what I was telling. Uh, The women were also very nervous and anxious because when they didn't had this idea that they can also earn from with their skills, and they can come out and into a community hall and work along with a man which is not their husband but as a collaborator. So this idea was something and a lot of conflict. So I had to spend a lot of time. I gave a small party, not a party in the sense, but we had a get together of picnic kind of a thing where everybody cooked. I also got something, and we all had a good time, like an ice breaking session to understand. I had some rice and fish, mustard fish, then some makhanas, and we made a good friendship. We created a good ambience. Only when the craftsmen are good enough, they feel free, they are confident, they're going to really deliver their best. So these are one when one sees this, they would see these are something, but these are all made out of very fine grasses which are woven together to create those things. So initially, they when they started, they thought it was not possible, but once they made it, it was. I mean, these ladies, and most of them have not gone to their school, but their children were going to the schools. There are a lot of local festivals like Jutia, and then there were other things where they had to fast and they had to. So I had to kind of understand that these are some cultural significance which comes around with the community, with the craft skill, and had to bear my patience of staying there more than what I had thought of. And henceforth, the project came out well, the product came out well. Now it's a thriving cluster, so many people, so many. There are many stories, but I'm just sharing one of the story. Finding the craftsman was again another story that's maybe on some other day we'll discuss. But this is an adventure, and this product came out really well. And ITC wanted a Christmas tree, and I thought that Christmas is something, um, is an important festival in Calcutta. I mean, my brother-in-law came and saw Park Street and said, "In the times, New York doesn't celebrate Christmas the way like Calcuttans do." So it's a big thing in Calcutta in Christmas, like Durga Puja and like Eid also. Christmas, we like to celebrate everybody's festival. So Christmas was a festival, and I thought, why having a Christmas tree which is completely not uh, within our community? It's an important idea of Christmas tree. So I had an idea to get this Murshidabad painters to paint a Christmas tree on the art forms uh, they have been painting and they have been working on it. So I created a Christmas tree on that line, and this was with the CBI, new CBI office building. But I used again work with the Patachitra artist to do public art installation, and yeah, this is again a very interesting subject where how spaces can be used, and we called it Panchendrani, with five elements. Again, coming back to five elements. I mean, these are things, these are elements which kind of uh, keeps lingering in my mind, and I always go back in creating this products and creating uh, in search of kasturi, as I always say. Try see how my country can be represented, how my crafts person can be represented, my skills, my country's skill can be represented in various manners. And hence I had collected a lot of antique panels. I worked with some beadwork makers, I worked with metal makers, wood makers, and created this whole structure. It's a huge structure. It's about 200 feet structure, but I had to kind of put it together to create it into one. This just happened at in the art show last year, and this is again talks about the history of Bengal's maritime before the Mughals came. It was during the Romans, and how Hooghly and this belt was of undivided Bengal of Chattogram was part of a huge creative and cultural movement from Bengal, and how uh, art traveled to Indonesia, Bali, and how Borobudur, the Buddhist sculpture happened. So there's a huge story in it. And I had to do a research with a lot of people. I did a lot of research on Anjana Sumani helped me with this research work. So I did this research again, collaborating with a lot of artisans, collaborating with the woodmaker, collaborating with an artist, collaborating with various kinds of calligraphers. And again, I'm saying it's a collaborative effort. One has to understand each one's space. Again, the word empathy, the word look into the details comes up. Only when you have an empathy towards certain and try to understand their perspective, a collaborative work happens, and it happens it creates a beautiful art form. So this was an art form, and it talks about their structures, and it took some time, but again, as I tell you, every process is interesting, every process is mesmerizing, because you're working with amazing people around you, amazing craftsmen, amazing textile artists, amazing collaborators, and things become it becomes like an adventure when the products kind of comes to an culmination. This is a small even just happened Chap Tilak, where we kind of I asked a lot of collaborators to come together. The music was part of how block printing was just not a block printing. They were there. They, if you see the performances, they are from Kutch, and they are performing an art piece which the Kutchi makers, Matani Pachedi, is an art form in south of India, and they had created a song, and on that basis of that song, uh, the performers are doing a dance uh, which talks about block printing, and the block printers are also there who's created those block prints. So it's not just about one element. As I'm telling you, in India is we are blessed, we are everything is so connected. And again, coming back to a note that I read a long time back, it says that in Vedas, it says that to be an artist, you have to be a mathematician. To be a mathematician, you have to be a poet. To be a poet, you have to be an architect. So everything connects. So it's very evident. A dance performance with the precision of blocks, with the music, everything is so connected, and that's what we presented here. And yeah, and coming back to my last thing, my last slide called Tat Tatsva Asi means everything is inside you. You just need to kind of see through, calm down, you'll hear what your heart, what your mind is saying. And I believe in that. And be open to hearing people, be open to listen to your craftspeople, textile artists, and the world is just like an adventure, and you go on a safari. Thank you for hearing Thank you being present. Thank you being patient. And yeah, thank
Thank you so much, sir. That session was really amazing. The PPT you have, everything you showed us is extremely visually uh, enticing, and it's amazing to see all of the work that you've done. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. So, just to give a brief overview, so showed us, apologies. Before we move on to the Q&A, I'd like to just take 30 seconds of your time for a quick poll. This will help us get to know you better and tailor the future topics that we bring to you. While you fill out the poll, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Amit Jaswant Saha. And thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable insights and time with us. I request all of the people in the PPT to in the participation list, kindly go through the poll quickly and interact with it so that we can move on to the Q&A. So before we move on to the Q&A, and while
you.
everybody is interacting with the poll, I'd like to ask you your inspirations, who, when you were younger, maybe who all inspired you to pursue the art form that you do, and also what made you think about reviving so many different art forms or the process to do it.
Yeah. So, am I visually audible? I because I am seeing a
I've,
blank
I-
screen right
I've,
now.
I've
Yeah.
lost your visual, but I can hear you.
Just a moment.
Trust. I'll just prompt you to start the video. Yes.
Yeah. Can you see me
We could.
now?
Yes, we can see you, hear
Yeah.
you.
So yeah. So it is. I I like eating food, and I'll come back to that. That when you like something, supposing you like a particular kind of food, you usually say this is something that I like. But why do we like that? We don't intend. If you watch a movie, you will say, I like this movie. The sound, the music was nice, that they played, the acting was nice. But actually, are are these two elements are the most important elements? Did it touch you? Did it kind of sensitize you? So all this question when I was a kid and I was looking at things I used to like, but I when I was sitting alone and I was going, uh, I'll tell you a small incident that I think this just came to me right now. Is that yesterday while I was coming to my office, I saw a small boy, and that boy was was different. Why? Because he was not on his phone. He was on a standing and resting his hand on a bamboo pole. Maybe I think there was a pole or something, and was resting his hand, and he was closely watching pigeons play, how pigeons were playing and how they were eating food, and each was a movement, and when the car came and how the pigeons fly off in the sky, and he was watching and wondering, and it made me so happy that at least somebody in this world is looking into those finer details which we have lost. I remember when I was a kid, I used to enjoy small things, having street foods and sitting with my friends, eating, playing, walking through small lanes, seeing interesting elements happening in this uh, in this uh, in this in this part of the city, and it made me really happy. So being happy and finding happiness in small thing is something that I think missing in the society. And I think that I'm blessed that I could have enjoyed, because probably my parents let me to enjoy. Maybe my friends let me enjoy it. Maybe it was my decision, that I don't know. But making a process enjoyable is something which I completely believe, and only then you can create things. See, reviving, doing great work and not doing great work is something that is not in your hand, but
True.
the process is always in your hand. The process of enjoying is always in your hand. The process of being at the moment is always in your hand. And I think that is all, that always makes me inspired, that always keep me inspiring, and that makes me happy. And still, I would like to do more work until the last breath. I would like to just work and work and work in the process of enjoyment.
Thank you. Uh, okay, I've lost your visuals again. If you could,
I
yes,
think because of the poll or something, I don't know what's
could be. It's good.
now my.
It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna invite Mr. Shmuel to go ahead with his question. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. And I want to ask you next question. How searching after kasturi can support improvement social and mental well-being?
I couldn't understand, sir. The
so he
audio.
so
If
his
you can.
question was how your process in the search for Kasturi could help social and how the process itself can help social and could I get the
And
last part, sir?
the mental well-being.
Social and mental well-being.
Yes, of course. As I said that, see, when you work with this group of people, when I work with the community, the crafts and arts, so there are two important things they look. One is money, and the other is respect. You can give them money, but if you don't give them respect, your work is not going to happen. So respect will only come when you sit with them, you talk to them, you share their sadness and happiness, you become a part of their process of their daily life. Only then work happens. Only then they are with you, they are going to stay with you, they're going to collaborate with you. And all in my wall of my work, which I thought were very challenging, because some of the work which I did was, these are not easy. Because if you I don't know how many people have worked with crafts people. If you ask them to do so in a work in a certain way, they will say no, it can't be done, sir, because we've been doing our traditional process is going to be like this. So until unless you become a part of them and you make them a part of your life, it's going to be very difficult. And money in this sector doesn't matter then. Probably if you don't have money, there are a lot of people who have worked and helped me in my difficult times, who took a single penny and they said me, when you earn, you give me back. So this is a this is something that you cherish. This is something that, with not with training, no institute will train you on this. Only with empathy, and only with the understanding of small details of how they work, how they live, you be a part of their cultural society. Only then these kind of magic happens.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shmuel, for joining us. So before we move on to the next question, I'm quickly going to give a brief about the upcoming talks that we have so that whoever's joined in can register. So the next talk we have on 27th December is by speaker Dr. Shishir Rawal. He's a PhD landscape architect and ecological planner at South Energies. He's an academician and activist. He's worked plenty uh, towards creating awareness and stopping hyper materialistic urbanized projects in my town, Vadodara, Gujarat. So I've come across river protection groups, and Sir gives all the intellectual data to help us protect the river as well. And he's going to be joining us on 27th. Post that, we have conservation biology and population genetics of endangered species. Subtitle is Where Will the Tigers Go? The speaker is P. Anuradha Reddy. Date is 3rd Jan. Post that, we have Behavioral Addictions by Dr. Devika Rani K, who's a regular speaker of ours. That's on 10 January 2026. And we have Keeping Joint Bones Young, Ayurvedic Wisdom for Lifelong Mobility by Dr. Tara Jayashree. That's on 17 Jan, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. With that, I'd like to now officially close the session and move on to the Q&A. I request all of the participants to kindly fill in more questions that you'd like to ask. I see a couple of testimonials from Hemalala, from Oishi Saha. I think must be an acquaintance of yours. Um,
Yeah, she's my daughter. I think she's got into this.
Amazing. Okay.
But I thought she was
Yeah.
studying.
This is also studying. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the testimonials. And so, sir, what's if I go towards the detailing, what's been the most tedious, time-taking, and but still the most like interesting projects that you've done from
See,
the ones that you've already shown as well?
all the projects has its own adventure. I I will I'll tell you human behavior in one of the stories that kind of just now just came to my mind. And I was working in this village without taking anybody's name, but I just take the name of the village. This place called Sultana. It's in the probably most of the people as I haven't heard of it. It's somewhere in Bilwara, and it's a small town in midst of nowhere. And the story goes like that when Aurangzeb attacked the Rajputana, and then they agreed later on that they're going to leave some of the metal craftsmen uh, here to help the Rajputana uh, to create more armors and armories, and so these people stayed, uh, and they make all, what do you say, but cages and small metal things, a lot of iron things. And though there are a handful of people now left, but I went there, and I there was no hotel, because it's a if you look at Sultana, it's a very small, I think 150 people or 200 people, maybe like that, 250 people. Maybe now it's grown bigger, but around that time maybe 250, 300 families were there. And it's a small village, and I stayed there and worked there for a while. And because I had no place, I asked that craftsperson that is there a possibility that I can stay with you. And he said, but sir, but we don't have proper bedding and all. It's quite chilly in Rajasthan, and it was winter. It was December, I guess, or January. I can't remember. It's quite chilly. So I said, whatever. I mean, however you sleep, I'm okay with that. So he made a bed of hays. He created a lot of hay, and he created a bed. And on that bed, I he has put a big sack, and on that sack he put a cloth, and that was the bed, because otherwise it was a clay house, and the cold will come from the ground up. So that was the bed, and I used my coverings to stay, and used it was we had an open bathroom, and there was no space to go for a like a structured loo, and so I stayed and I enjoyed their livelihood. So we had good fun. The mother cooked for us, and I paid at the end when I was going. But see here, having stayed there for over a month, maybe 1.5 month, 45 days, I stayed with them, and I had a beautiful relation with them. And before couple of days also we were discussing that if I go we will be in touch and all, and I said I promised her to help you in finding more clients and all that. That all went well. But before the day when I was leaving, something happened, and I don't know what, among the community, and some sort of a uh, noise. I could understand that there's some sort of an anxiety. So I had to order a tempo to carry the artwork to Delhi. So everything was booked. It has been planned. So the tempo came on the right, I mean, on the right day. So we packed the things and we were supposed to take up. But this guy said that no, you can't leave now. But why? Because we want extra money, and this is not. I can't. I said that, but we had a deal of that. I'm going to pay you this along with whatever you have helped me out, and
mm,
uh, the stay and all. So he said no. So I could understand that somebody must have created some sort of a noise in his head that he was influenced by that person and he was trying to bullying me. Finally, after a lot of the whole community, about 300 people came, and I was single, and I don't know what to do, where to do, and I called my people, and they said that right now we can't do anything because it's quite far from Delhi. It's about uh, if I also travel, it will take about 30, 36 hours. We can't, there's no direct flight, nothing we can do. You have to handle by your own. So I was all alone and I didn't know what to say. I kept my calm and I said that, see, whatever you're demanding is if there has to be a rationalization of it. We were good friends, and why are you asking? I mean, what has happened? But he said, no, 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 it can't happen. No, it can't happen. So then I had to take somebody else help. So here, why I'm saying you the story, when I was with him, I also made friends with other people so that if there was a moment, if I had to back out or if I had to deal with it, I would have some people in that community who want to support me. So I went back to those people and asked, you know me, you know my all my details and I've shared with you. Please help me because I don't know what has happened with him. So they people came and said that, come on, he's a good guy. If you whatever, let him go. We will see. He will pay, and we know his address and all. We can always go and ask. So these people came and then said that okay, let this person go, and I left my that town. It was quite late, and on the journey because it becomes very foggy. It was a really troublesome journey. But I
really.
went back and I promised that I'll send some extra money, not the amount that you wanted, but we negotiated and sent some extra money. So I'm saying how dynamics in the community work is very different, and one has to be open-minded and really. I mean, it's challenging yet it's kind of very adventurous.
Amazing. So, one question from Vrithi Designs. Can you tell the name of a book that we can read to get more knowledge about 64 kalas?
So there are many. One of the book that you can is the Natya Shastra. There's
Natya
simple
Shastra.
versions of Natya Shastras. A lot of people have written that. You can always find the book that you think that is which you think is kind of liking to you. But
Or as per
Shastra
regional.
very it's a big volume. So yeah, I mean that is one, and any combination permutation of Natya Shastras, you will find all the material on that.
Thank you. So one question. So what do you, I personally used to craft music instruments, kalimbas, didgeridoos for a couple of years. I worked with Swaram in Auroville. I lived in Auroville for 2 years and plant trees every day, make music instruments the rest of the day. So I like working with my hands too. And there was a point of time I snapped out of it because if I just want to make something special, one piece for one person, there's this loop that I can't set by myself. I have to involve a lot of people, create a system around it, create a brand for myself, create a name for myself. It doesn't stay small anymore, basically. Um, and I saw a lot of fellow craftsmen working in Oroville or many other places. The money they earn is actually very, very less in comparison to several other countries, whereas the work detailing it is of a very good level. Uh, what do you think maybe the government is doing, or is it encouraging? Is it not encouraging? I just want your point of view, like what the government is doing to support craftsmen in maybe your state, in states that you've been to support artisans.
Yeah, it's a very important question, and I think it's a question of the hour, and everybody who's concerned about crafts and arts and and cultural practices are asking this question. See, I have a very different opinion, and I kind of back my opinion is that government can or can't always help everyone. The
True.
whole idea is that institution like yours, the people who are working in the ground, how do you don't support them? How do you collaborate
Connect
with
them.
them? How do you give the same status that you are giving to a musician? So
True.
that is where we, I think, lacking. I mean, when I say this, like if you come to my studio and you see all my people who are working are happy because they know their job, they know the price that they are getting. They, if I tell them that this is what I can't give you and this I can give you, there's a reason. So they agree, and everybody's earning well and they're all happy. And that's what I'm saying. Ki, it is, if you think that you're supporting, they're going to always going to be on the back. They're always going to be in the bottom of of the pyramid. But if you, when they say I collaborate with them and I give them space, you're giving them the same equal
Equal
thing.
status.
The mindset changes. The mindset of a craftsman changes. He or she will be willing to ask his son, okay, this, we are getting a lot of importance. We are also earning money. So why do you want? There's a small example. A weaver's son will not weave. He will very well pull a rickshaw or work in a restaurant as a server, earning less, but because he thinks the dignity that he gets is more when he's serving in a restaurant or pulling a rickshaw than rather weaving a textile. So the dignity is a very, very important, a poignant thing in our sector. So if the dignity is missing, people will feel bitter about themselves and they'll feel pity about themselves. And when you start saying that we collaborate, we are hamdard, we are humsafar, we are all together in it, so the whole
Correct.
mindset changes, the whole
Changes.
economic dynamics changes. And I think we should start looking at this rather than supporting. Let's collaborate. Let's do something together, and how, let's see how we can. The idea of supporting always suppress that. They will always feel that, oh, we are getting support, so
Yeah.
they have to also think that, okay, we are collaborating. We also have to do something so that we come out
Yeah.
of this. Uh,
They should feel they are not being pressed on by anybody else
yes,
and working as equals. Yeah.
yes, 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 absolutely.
I noticed there was this. I went for my IDS, interdesign studies, to this village called Kinnar village near Hospet in Karnataka, and they had this very, very old uh, art form of creating toys. Uh, Nowadays they do it with POP too, but otherwise with other materials. And slowly
And
it is also
sawdust. They used to do with sawdust and Fevicol.
sawdust. Yes, yes, and like something like MDF nowadays
Yes.
called MDF.
Yeah.
So uh, slowly that is also like sort of fading away. It's fading away because the remuneration is not the same as a machine-made product or some mass manufacturer producing it, or even the successive generations are not really taking it up as a learning form or something they would like to preserve or anything, what would you suggest to, say, fellow designers, students, learners who want to, or artists or conservationists
So now, as
from your
my
experience?
my coming to my again my thing in search of kasturi.
Kasturi.
So, see a musician. If you look at all the musicians who have made their name, or if you look at all the artists who have made them name, it's a struggling phase initially, but they have always come back to their roots, and they are known because they have
Their
touched
roots.
the roots. They are with the roots. So I will, for all the young designers and people who are watching, who are listening, my only request is that the country India is a country we're blessed to born in India, and we are blessed to have such beautiful skills, such diversity. With each 50 kilometers the things change. I think we should enjoy this rather than going back to any other country. Maybe that will be easier life, but if you come back to your own country and you go to one village and start picking up a small sector and start working, maybe initially there'll be difficulty, but in long term it will give you benefit. And I can tell you this because when I started, I faced a lot of problem, but I right now I have 150 people working for me. They're all
Nice.
collaborating, we're working together, and I know the joy of when you have your own studio, when you where you can express yourself, and you have artists, your designers working with you. So it's a different joy. So it's I'm just saying because it is difficult. I know it's difficult to start with, but going along, it's an just an enormous enjoying process.
Amazing, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart and from Vishwa team for giving us time and sorting out a really beautiful presentation for us to learn. And with that, I think we are
There are
okay.
a lot of
We've
questions
got
that are coming out in the
we've
chat
got
box.
we've got one more question. What is one piece of advice you would give to me as a fresh graduate entering the field of fashion design?
Yeah, this is from who? Can I know the name?
Hema Hemala from Miss
Sorry,
Hemala. From
Himala.
Yeah,
Miss Hemala. Yes.
Yeah. So hi. So I won't. It's not an advice, but I would really like you to think. And what I did helped me. I can tell you. After you graduate
yeah,
from your fashion design, I would request you to travel India, especially to all the textile belts of India. And take it as an internship project. Travel, see the beauty of textiles of India. Find your liking, find your calling in what which you think that are suitable to take
mhm,
up that skill, and try a build a relation with them and see the magic happening. Use your modern pattern, use your modern design with the traditional craftsmanship, with the traditional uh, technology, and see how magic happens. Travel, travel India, look at various uh, uh, project. I mean, various skills. After I graduated, I did the same. I My parents were saying, do a job, get a job, get a job. My girlfriend was saying that we get a job uh, because what are you crazy or what? But I traveled for 1 year, and wherever I got a chance to work with an NGO, I asked them, can I get a food and a stay, and I can work for you for free? Just my pocket money would be enough. I got that, and it really helped you immensely. Help you to uh, it helps you in vasting your knowledge, something that that is something which is in depth, because you've seen, you've been with them, you know what you're saying. So I will really request not only you but each and every young people to travel across India to enjoy the food, the culture, the textile, the craft. It's just beautiful. And when I say, you have to enjoy the process, going on a bus with a lot of people. Like I went to a bus, and I went for the first time. I was in South India and I was eating. Somebody said that more, and I thought they were asking that I to have, I should I give you more, but my friend tell me it's more means that it's curd milk. So I said, yes, of course, I would like to have that. So it's just beautiful. I mean, this, you should enjoy the process. You should enjoy traveling. You should just enjoy the country, and I think you will find your calling.
Yeah, sure, sir. Because actually, I'm a Indian person, so I know a lot about India. Even if I was like digging the Indian histories and everything, I know a lot of things, I think so.
Yes.
Of course, I'll travel. For me, it's easy to travel because native language is there. Uh,
No, not only India. Go to Kashmir. Go to Northeast. Northeast is just wonderful. Go to Northeast. See the techniques. Go to Gujarat. Come to Bengal.
Yes.
I mean, each place has different something to offer. I mean, completely that you have not thought of.
Okay,
Thank you,
I'll try
Mr. Shah.
it. Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So actually, I live in Gujarat, and I've actually noticed people moving from the US to study about ikat, then to study different art forms in Kutch related to textiles. And I currently work with a Fulbright scholar who's a music instrument, sound instrument inventor, and his partner, his wife, she's good like 65 plus years old. Every year, she just comes and does a visit to learn about one textile art form in a state.
Wonderful.
And her name is Wendy. And every time she'll come, she'll write about it. She'll experiment, make her own clothes, carry all of those garments with her to do an exhibition in the USA, in Nebraska. Uh, okay,
And
we have we have a question from Ms. Madhvi. What would you recommend to experience in Shanti Niketan?
ah, so Shantiniketan is a, as you know, that it's the playground of Rabindranath
Art.
Tagore. Yeah, and the institute is there. So there's the museum is there, Rabindranath Tagore Museum. It's a must see. Uh, uh, then there are a lot of interesting um, small hubs of creativity. There are a couple of NGOs that you must go. Amar Kuchir is one of them. You can go to some of, because in Amar Kuchir you will see a lot of leather work, the batik that has come. Then there is the katha work that you can see. Plus there is this the rural heart called Shona Churi that is there. So all the usually used to be a lot of tribal and craftspeople used to come. Now there are a lot of middlemen are also coming and sitting and doing there. So that, so but that's nice. Then you can explore the what do you say, the this, there are a lot of small studios. You can Google them and you'll find them. They are doing a lot of textile, metal work, and you can call them and you can visit them, see their work. There is a lot of ceramic work, terracotta work going happening, so you can see that. And there are a lot of things to explore. And this is the right time. The winter is the right time, especially because you get this jaggery called dead palm jaggery, khajur, good. And in the morning, if you really wake up early and you go to little in from Shantinagar about a kilometer away, you will find fresh jaggery. Really nice, not so sweet,
Amazing.
but very cool.
Love to try some of that. I just wanted to check with you whether you've received any questions in your direct chat because I've gone through all the questions in my common chat box.
Let me just have
In
a.
case, yes, take your time. There's a message from Mr. SRK. Hello, Amrita. Being so creative and having such a thoughtful ideology is truly surprising these days. Our culture is living legacy that deserves to grow with
I think we have got most of the questions. I think.
yes.
So I hope
Lot of
it made
lot of
sense to
testimonials.
yeah, I hope it made sense to people participated, and I hope it will be some sort of an guideline for young designers.
Yes, sir, absolutely. The process is something I think all all artists try to find their own process while
Yes,
they are maturing, and
yes,
learning about any artist's process, especially ones who are working with endangered crafts also. It it fires up new curiosities for your own process, which is really nice. So thank you so much. And it's not
thank you.
easy for any artist to share their process. So thank you so much that you're doing it so selflessly. And I would love to share this webinar more as we go ahead and make some content on it. And I will share that with you. Keep stay in the loop.
Sure.
With that, sir, I would obviously like to close this session, but at the same time, you will see a breakout room link on your screen shortly. You can just join that, and I will be there, and Vishwa team will be there, and that meeting
Okay,
will last for about 10 minutes. And
okay,
I'd like to thank all of the participants who have joined us today. I hope to see you all next week again. If you missed any part of this session, I am pasting the YouTube live link in the chat box, which you can share with your family and friends and whoever you feel will use this process, will make complete utilization of it and use it for their benefit and grow. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see you all next week.